Oh, yes, Lord Toritori here. Now, I realised I ought to make an instructional videogram for you concerning this nonsense about a border in the Irish Sea that the EU are asking us to erect, because I shall demonstrate to you that it's completely impractical. I've got a little map here, which we have photocopied from a book of maps. It's a little bit of a cheek because the page we copied it from said this was a map of Europe, but it had Britain on as well. Never mind. With the aid of that map and some coloured pens of Nanny's, I think we can show you that the idea does not work. Because if you want a border here in the Irish Sea, this is the Irish Sea, then you could, for example, try following the coastline of Britain all the way around for your border. But I think you can see it's actually very wiggly, particularly this bit. So your border would be incredibly long, and that solution, it therefore really doesn't work. We'll talk about the practical difficulties as well, but wherever your border, whatever sort of border you're going to have, you can't have it there. So you're going to need to come down rather more down the middle, you see. Here's the Irish Sea and Isle of Man. Now then, you might think it would be useful to have a fixed point for your border, because it's going to be bloody difficult as it is. But if you start going across the island, you'll partition the island, you see. That's never a good idea. So you're going to have to carry on down the middle, like so. But the problem with this, you'll probably easily spot it, you see. The ships can just go around the outside. And so you might think what you need to do is extend it. But you can probably still see the problem. Still possible to bypass it. Unless you take the border all the way to some point in France. But again, I think you can see the problem. Now, the ships may wish to traverse the English Channel. You've created a barrier for them. It is English, the English Channel, but nonetheless, there are other ships as well that wish to use it. That might be seen as a problem. And think about what would happen at the northern end. See, this border would go on and on. You'd have to have it all the way to Iceland. And even then, you haven't solved the problem, because Iceland is an island. Ships could sail around that, come back down the other side. So that solution, we have examined the practicality, but that doesn't work either. So much for that one. What else could you do? You might say, okay, we'll have a border in the Irish Sea, avoid the Isle of Man, come down here, don't go to France, close it off here. Coming up the other way, round the top to the Orkneys and Shetlands, close it off there. There you are, watertight border. But you've still got a problem, because a ship from Southampton could sail round this way, a ship from Aberdeen could sail round that way. You have not mitigated against this. And this is even nonetheless considering the length of this border be fantastically difficult to construct. You ever tried to put up a fence on a sea? You'd need a floating boom, stabilised, what would happen in rough seas. Furthermore, you also have to mitigate against submarines which could go underneath your border unless you had nets going all the way to the seabed. It's bloody deep around there. So I think you can see that actually we've considered all the possibilities. None of them are practical. And so this idea that the EU wanted us to have of having a border in the Irish Sea is just not possible. It can't be done. We're not going to do it because it's not possible to do it. The EU had better think again. Now, If they had had the wisdom to allow Ireland to leave the EU the same time as Brexit, then the whole British Isles could have left, whole and entire. That would have been a different matter entirely. But they didn't have that wisdom. And so there will be no border in the Irish Sea. It's simply not possible. They should have thought it through. Right, I think that covers the matter. Simpkins, think we did all the cases? I can't think of any other ways to do it. Good. All right. Pour me a brandy. Oh, yes, stop the camera filming those maps. They aren't going anywhere. Oh.